Hello everyone, Elden Ring DLC announced 2 days ago, not on Game of the Year, on the Elden Ring anniversary event. It's just a random day after the Elden Ring's birthday. They announced Elden Ring DLC with one photo of a really good concept art of what could happen next. The DLC will be called Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. Everybody know about this one image. People are talking constantly about it. Elden Ring lore channels making 15 minutes video out of one image. You know what, that's what I'm gonna do. It will not be a 15-minute, but I'm gonna show or tell you about what are my speculations or assumptions, what is going to happen in the DLC, what we know, and by this one image what we able to uncover the secrets that we already have in Elden Ring base game. This Shadow of the Erdtree DLC is an expansion, but it's really hard to say, is this a prequel or a sequel? Let's just go straight up to the image and we can see a really good landscape. It's a plain with a really big tree and a rider who is riding our torrent. Straight out of back, we don't care about the person riding our torrent, neither the big tree in the background. The more important thing that they are adding wheat in Elden Ring as in consumable or maybe a crafting material. This open a new realm of new crafting materials. We could get new items like bread in Elden Ring. It will not just be called bread, it will be some gold pickled sliver of meat with a paragraph of explanation. This type of scenery we haven't seen in Elden Ring yet. In the lands between, we don't have such a huge dense field of plants and crops. This is something new. Let's just uncover what we first see. We see a person riding our torrent. There's a white person with blonde hairs. Who is white and has blonde hairs in Elden Ring? We have three people. We have Queen Marika, we have Godwin, and we have Miquella. The only suitable person for this is Miquella, because we can see this is a child and Miquella is a permanent child. And from this we can know that Miquella was the former owner of Torrent, which actually makes more sense when Rani showed up in the early of the game as Rena for some reason. She knowed the former master of Torrent and gave the spirit calling bell to you and the three lone wolf ashes. This makes sense because Rani is related to Miquella. They are both Empyrean. They are both eligible for godhood. We can assume that Rani and Miquella known each other before shattering. How we know this? The reason is Rani and Miquella are friends on Facebook alongside Rykard, Radahn, Morgoth and Mohg. Probably not Morgoth and Mohg. So this means this is definitely true that From Software gonna explore more Miquella side of story. And the second big thing we see in this concept art is a really big tree in background which has seen us peak. Now it's fallen into his own shadow. In current game we have two big trees. We have Erdtree and the Erdtree. Which tree has seen its fall? Erdtree. Erdtree in present Elden Ring timeline has fallen after Miquella was taken away from the Erdtree by Mohg. So is this Erdtree? I don't think so. Is this the Erdtree after you became the Elden Lord? Probably after you do the Age of the Stars ending or the Frenzied Flame ending. This is hard to say. I don't think it's either Erdtree, neither Erdtree. Erdtree is a slightly crippled tree, but it's not similar to what we see in this image. There are definitely two trees here. People are assuming that the one of the tree here is the Erdtree, but I don't think that's also the case because this tree is long and thin. The Erdtree is long and thick. They are different. One is thin and the other one is thick. I don't think it's either Erdtree or Erdtree. So now we have eliminated Erdtree and Erdtree, but there are two trees in background. One is grabbing the hell out of the one tree. I think this is a tree that is being infected by Godwin's death and death blight in the deep root depths. We all know that Erdtree is being constantly infected in its roots by Godwin, and it's been spread all over the lands between. There's a possibility that From Software will explore more of Godwin's side of story, where we will deal with those who live in death. The another thing that somewhat makes sense is these two trees are Erdtree and the Erdtree combined together, fighting for its prime. And how is this even possible? These two trees are really far away. How they came closer to each other, I don't think that is the case. This could be symbolic, because this is not the place we know in Elden Ring. If this is an Erdtree, I don't think this is the Altus Plateau we know. Erdtree is sea facing and it grows on the side of the cliff. Similarly, Erdtree also grows at a cliff in mountain tops of the giant. These two grows at the prime real estate locations. What we see here, it's a vast area of plains with slight mountains in the background. I don't even call them mountains. These are more of them of hills. These are hills. These two trees grow at a much affordable place, so we can conclude that this is not the lands between that we know. This is somewhere else. This is land somewhere else. This could be in the foggy regions that we talk about in the whole game. But what was in the fog? Was it the lands of Reed? Was it the Badlands? It's hard to say. We can just speculate right now. The another thing, we can assume that it's not either the Erdtree or the Erdtree. This is something a completely different tree, or could be a great tree. I asked about this to my local Crucible Knight who lives in my basement.
Hi.
And it said it used to be a really big tree before Erdtree. It was really hard to gather this information. He usually don't talk too much. Currently in the game, they are everywhere. Crucible Knights work as a freelancer in the lands between. Anyone can hire them. We can see that some Crucible Knight still in Lindell, some in Hero's Grave, few in Nokron, one is with the Recusants, two are in Farmazula, some are still in Stormville or in Limgrave. We see one in Redmane Castle, and a cool thing is that if we heal around a Crucible Knight, he also heal, like he is our ally. And their item and armor description says that there used to be a great tree that they protect. So is this the great tree that Crucible Knight is talking about? It has seen its fall. Great tree was fallen. We could see a really big trunk in the deep root depths where a Crucible Knight, the easier one, was protecting. Currently in the game, we could see a really big tree. Roots is being destroyed, protected by Crucible Knight alongside Godwin's death roots, which means Godwin's death roots has destroyed that tree, and now Erdtree grows at its place. What we are thinking, it's still not possible, because that great tree is said to be exist before the Erdtree. If we are talking about prequel, it's more like a recent past where Godfrey is banished from the lands between. We see Mikola Melania already exist in the lands between. Means Marika and Radagon already came together. The Great Tree concept doesn't fit in this situation. The third thing that I see, but I don't think it makes sense, but I'm just gonna say that there are 4 ruins in this image. 4 of them somewhat looks like the church we found in Elden Ring. There are 4 Church of Marika, and yeah, these 4 churches are not so close to each other. They are all quite far away. I think this is a representation or a symbolic representation of the lands between. This is not in the same realm, because in other lore channels they are saying that it's a spirit realm, it's a spirit world where it shows the connection between the different spirits. We have Mikala that owns Spirit Calling Bell. We know that when a creature dies in Elden Ring, it goes to Erdtree and perform rebirth. And also we are dealing with death, so this is a plane where we are dealing with life and death. I think it makes sense, but it's really hard to say. Here another thing we see is ghostly tombstones and graves. People say that they are the graves of these spirits. I think these are the graves of the spirits and spirit ashes, or those who live in death who refuses or didn't make to the Erdtree for rebirth. These spirits and those who live in death roam the lands between in a more half-dead situation. These ghostly graves shows the emptiness of the death of those creatures. But if this is true, where spirits don't want to return to the spirit world and still want to roam the lands between, then how and why Torrent is in this place? We can't say that this is some sort of a spirit world right now. We have a very little information to play around. Let's just see what else we can speculate through this. Titles say the shadow of the Erdtree. It means the Erdtree has been fallen, and it's like the aftermath of the falling of the Golden Order when you become the Elden Lord or become the Lord of the Frenzied Flame or do the Age of the Stars ending. This could be the sequel of the Elden Ring, where it's really hard to say because we can see Mikala in her childhood form. What we know in present Elden Ring timeline, that Mikala has gone through a transformation, more like a metamorphism in the cocoon we found in Morgswyn Palace. This could be a prequel where we see Mikala forming his own new order. In the game, it's been shown that Mikala forming its own order with its own Erdtree means the Halic Tree, and so this could be a prequel and a origin of the Halic Tree forming of a new order. This could be the expansion where we focus on the spirits, the other realm of the lands between that we haven't seen in the base game yet. But what else we could hope for in the DLC? What else is not being covered in the base game yet? There are different topics like what about Godfrey, Horaloo and the Badlands? What about the Stormlord? What happened to the Albanorex? How they end up in such a miserable state? What about Misbegottens? What about Eternal Cities? All we know about them is through the item description. We see lot of Lands of Reed stuff in Elden Ring throughout the lands between. There's a possibility From Software can explore more of Lands of Reed. This is very much looks like it. I think this is pretty much the information we can get it from this one image. I think From Software has specifically made this concept art in such a manner where everyone can speculate and assume different aspects the Elden Ring will follow in the DLC. I think they want us to keep speculating and assuming what could happen. They are making the same situation before the launch of the Elden Ring, where people are constantly talking about the game. I don't think we are getting any new information about this DLC till the next trailer will drop. And they said it's still in development, so I think it's more like 6 or 7 months of time we have. The only main two aspects we could explore in DLC, I think it's the those who live in death and the spirit world through Mikala. This is the best I could come up with. So yeah, don't forget that wheat will also be in the game and all we can do is wait, which is not a big thing,
because Elden Ring is one of those type of games that people play for years. So this is what I'm doing right now. It's just been in a year that Elden Ring has been launched and I'm still playing it. I don't mind waiting for the DLC or anything new about DLC. Till then, I'm making this concept art as my wallpaper, and you should subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.